Hello, I'm Trent Bracht from Warrenton High School, and I've been asked to analyze the situation about whether or not the sixth family should buy Gloria's groceries located in Gypsum. So, in order to analyze this situation, I've conducted a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, the strengths of buying Gloria's groceries is that it has a recognizable name and a good reputation in the community. It will open up after hours to help the school if they need something last minute, and people associate it as being an all-around good business in the community. Another strength is that it is in a good location and that it is near other businesses in the town. So that is good too, because it's near the competition. However, there are several weaknesses. The weaknesses include that there is very limited parking, which reduces the number of customers that can be served at one time at this store. Another problem is that it has poor decor and it is not located on necessarily the nicest street. There are tiles that are just chipped throughout the store, the aisles are narrow, and then there's buildings like this empty shed next door which just give an all-around bad environment for the store. Another weakness is that it's a smaller community, so there's not going to be as high of a profit ability from, like, say, a Walmart compared to this store. It also suffers from the weakness that it is not a chain. Chain stores can buy a lot more in bulk because they're buying for like all their stores across the country, and when they do that, they get charged a lower rate per each item compared to a smaller store where they're having to pay a lot more. And oftentimes with stores like this, they might buy a bulk crate like this and only sell half of it, which is a problem because we have a lot going to waste if we do that. And there's also just in general limited options. I mean, if we're going to buy chips, we're only going to buy the top selling chips. We're not going to buy like these lesser known chips that maybe sell a few each year but not as much, which is also bad because customers will want to go to stores that offer more options and meet all their needs. Now, for the opportunities, there is an empty shed that is located next door to the building. That empty shed could be converted into a parking lot so more customers could come in. Another opportunity is we could just move the business into a building that is directly on Main Street. This is right off of Main Street, which isn't bad, but considering Main Street leads directly to a major metropolitan area, it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe move it onto the street there, so that way people who are traveling through could stop and use the restroom, maybe buy some chips or some soda or something, since they're headed to a major city. So that would be a good idea, potentially. Now, another opportunity is grocery pickup. A lot more people are using grocery pickup, and with COVID going on, a lot of people aren't necessarily comfortable with going inside the store, so it would make sense to look into an online format. The next opportunity is to fix up the store. The store does not have necessarily the best appearance, and if we want to ensure that we're getting customers and that they view the store good, they need to be able to see that it is a good, high-quality store and has a good design and layout and everything like that. So we could fix the tiles, maybe try to demolish the empty shed next door and do all those things. The next opportunity is to create more like a bakery or like a sub shop that's located within the store. This could potentially expand the customer base, and since smaller towns don't usually have a lot of restaurants, if somebody just wants to buy a sub or baked goods or just go out for lunch, they could potentially go in and buy a sub and just sit down and eat it, since they don't really want to cook or they just want to go out because they're at work or something, and that could potentially be a good opportunity. However, there are many threats to this situation too. The biggest threat being COVID. Now, I just talked about the bakery and sub shop. A lot of people are still uncomfortable with going to restaurants because no one's wearing masks since you have to eat, and that's really hurt a lot of businesses, so that might not be the best idea because you have this threat here of COVID, which would scale back the number of customers who would be willing to eat subs and shop at a place like that, since they don't necessarily want to be around people without masks on. And COVID has also hurt the number of people that are traveling around because there aren't as many concerts and special events going on, which would really hurt the convenience store idea of moving it directly onto Main Street, because there aren't going to be as many people who are traveling around. So the gains from the people who are traveling around won't be as much as it had been in years past. That's a given. The next biggest threat is chain competitors. Chain stores like Dollar General has built small stores all across America in rural communities with lower income. That is their key demographic, which is exactly what gypsum is. And since they're buying for all their stores, they can buy much more easily in bulk. And they get lower prices for that, and they're able to sell it much cheaper. So if Dollar General were to open up a store, they could likely just undercut us in the price and would likely be able to overtake this store by doing that. And this brings me to the last threat, which is cost. No matter what you do, it's going to cost a lot of money, whether you fix up the store or move locations or add expanded services like the online. Online is not cheap, and a lot of chain stores have much better infrastructure for online services. For these reasons, I recommend that the 6 families, instead of trying to buy the store, they look into investing in a Dollar General franchise. I say that because Dollar General has the much better infrastructure as far as being able to buy in bulk and much better online services compared to them creating their own service, because that would be costly. So I recommend that they look into a Dollar General franchise, so that way they can not only help keep their community full with businesses, but that they're also able to still make money and not lose it. Because if you make a business that's still not going to make money, well, that can only last so long as you have money that you're willing to pour into it. Thank you for your time. I'm done with this presentation, and goodbye.